Welcome back to Papa Z's Bees. Here we go for the full first inspection of spring of 2022. Kind of excited. We're going to go quite a bit deeper into the hive than we did in the quick ones. As usual, we're going to start with the smoking process. I calm the bees down. It's a real windy day today, probably in the mid 70s. So we're going to break this thing down and kind of see what's in there, where you can really see that wind blowing in those trees. So we're going to take it apart, just like as always. Get the feeder shim off, and then we're going to check for stores. This is one of the main things we're going to do this time, and check and make sure there's food. So I've been feeding them sugar syrup for 2 to 3 weeks to try to alleviate the fact that they did not have any sugar stores in their grocery store or that medium super that I'm looking at now. And good to see that there is quite a bit of sugar syrup, or possibly nectar, but more than likely sugar syrup in this medium. So I'm going to go through a lot of the frames, see a lot more bees this time, but the frames are a lot heavier because, again, they've got the sugar water in them, which again is what I wanted, to get them have food until the nectar flow starts. I'll go through a lot of them and just to make sure that there's enough sugar up here, because if there's not enough sugar, I'll continue to feed them.
Assuming it's the syrup.
From what I'm seeing, there's quite a bit here. So we'll put this thing back together here in a bit and check and make sure it's that way, and what it looks like in the brood box, because that's the important part. A lot more bees up here, and a lot more bees in general. You can see the bees are flying. Even in the wind, the bees are flying. So that's a little unusual in that, a lot of times when it's really windy and they really have to fight the wind, so they a lot of times don't fly a whole lot. There are quite a few bees out. Frames are kind of stuck down a little bit because they're heavy, but the main thing is because they're starting to fix things with their propolis. You see on the bottom of this frame, which is something that's kind of worrying me, there was a lot of drone brood on the bottom of this frame and on the next frame as well. So once we pull this medium super off, we'll take a look and see what that means. This time of year in the spring, they'll start producing drone brood. That way, they can spread their genetics around to other bees when in a drone congregational area when new virgin queens go and get mated. So let's get this medium super off and let's start looking at the brood box. You can see as I scrape off here, a lot of drone brood in that burr comb. The space between the bottom of the medium super frames and the top of the brood frames, there was just a ton of these drone larvae. Basically, they were pupa. They looked like they were getting ready to hatch. I hated to lose those, but not much you can do. You have to be able to take the frame, the hive apart, and the bees normally don't build in there, but for some reason they did here. Maybe lack of space, which is the thing I'm worrying about. Lack of space, maybe because they've got too much sugar syrup in these frames, which I'm seeing as I go. Each frame was really heavy and was full of sugar water, which is something I do not want to see. Because if you get too much sugar water in there, or syrup in there, she can't lay, and that's not a good thing. Did see some eggs there in this frame. Normally I've had problems finding eggs. I have glasses that get dark in the sun, and so it's been really dark. This time I just wore reading glasses, and I was able to see it. Lots of drone brood, even on this one, not on the top, but just right there on the body of the frame, so that's good. We want to have some drones to be able to go out and populate the congregation area. Beginning to see regular worker bee brood as well, which is really nice. Nice pattern here. So she's doing what she's supposed to do. The only problem is the rest of the bees are really bringing in that sugar syrup or nectar. And you can see where I'm pointing right there. There's a lot of nectar or sugar water down below in that brood area, which is where she wants to lay. If she can't lay, they become what they call honey bound, and this can very easily cause the bees to want to swarm prematurely, and so we've got to handle that. The only way we can handle it at this point is to remove feeding and allow them to eat some of the stores they've got right now. Hopefully they'll take them away from the brood area, which they normally will do, and then the nectar flow will come in, and they'll be able to to have enough food to prepare for the this coming winter. It's a long way off, but they always prepare for winter.
Lots of nectar down here, which I don't
Again,
like.
more nectar, which is not a good thing. We're going to have to. Pretty much I made the decision by this point that I was not going to feed anymore, at least for a while. I won't put the feeder shim back on. I'll keep it down, and we'll see what happens. If I have to put it back on, I will. But hopefully the nectar flow will come in, and meanwhile they'll eat some of that sugar syrup that I had been feeding them, that they've gathered. Don't see any swarm cells at the bottom, but I did see some supersedure cells, which means that they may be ready to replace their queen for whatever reason. I didn't do anything with them. If they feel like she needs to be replaced, then I'm gonna let them deal with it.
So, therefore, they're not going to.
By not seeing any swarm cells, which would be queen cups on the bottom of the frames, that tells me they're not quite ready to leave yet, to swarm out yet. When that's good, so we'll give them some more time. Continue to watch them, and if we're going to hopefully build some resource hives out of splits that we'll do out of this hive. We'll talk about that later in a different video. Now we're just continuing to put the box back together, and add the boxes back in the hive. And what I'm not going to do is put the feeder shim back on there. I forgot to bring the regular inner cover, so I had to go get it. Took off my veil when I did, and I just didn't put it back on. These bees have always been really, really gentle, and I've not had any stinging problems unless I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. So we'll close them out, put the last little bit, which is the little hive visor on, and we're basically done. We'll watch it and we'll do some more. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.